Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today, I am getting a lot of questions. We've been posting a lot of content about a recent case that I was involved in as an expert witness, Arizona versus Elliott. There's a lot of questions and discussions there about using deadly force to protect animals. And today, I want to kind of give you some definitive answers, at least as best we can, about the question that I'm getting asked again and again and again, which is fine. It's a legit question. So if a dog is attacking my dog, or if a wild animal is attacking my kitty cat, can I use deadly force to protect that property, that cat, that dog, my beloved pet? Wilderness Tactical has been around for longer than the gun you're carrying has been, and they have been making high quality products for concealed carriers for literally decades. I wear their low pro belt every year. The webbing is the best in the industry, and I won't wear anything else. If you're looking for a good CCW belt, check them out. For anybody who is watching this who doesn't know me, I am not an attorney and I did not even stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night, but I am a multi-time court-admitted expert witness in use of force in self-defense and in firearms. I'm the guy attorneys call to give them education and help them get them up to speed on the issues surrounding self-defense, and I testify in trials. I write expert reports about issues surrounding self-defense. Okay, let's talk about this. I'm going to sound like an attorney for just a minute because I'm going to answer your question definitively. Can I use deadly force to protect my precious animal from attack by another animal? No, you can't. There are some tiny exceptions to using deadly force to protect property that some people want to use kind of almost weasel words to kind of get around. I'll talk about those with you, but here's the hard and fast. Do not, full stop, use deadly force to protect your beloved pet, okay? And I'm gonna step on your toes a little bit here, and I'm gonna tell you why I'm gonna step on your toes. And it's not because I don't love you. It's not because your mom is fat and your baby is ugly, okay? I'm just trying to keep you away from the justice system. That's all my goal is here. Because if ever you get the justice system pointed at you, if you get the legal system pointed at you, it will change your life forever. If you get all the way to a jury, you are talking about facing Smaug. You are facing a 600-year-old dragon of 1200 IQ that you don't know what he's interested in. And you do know you're crunchy and you taste good with ketchup. So I want to keep you away from that, as far away from that as possible, okay? So as an absolute rule, okay, two things are true here. I want to give you two truths that are absolutely true throughout the United States. Number one, pets are property. I know people say they're my fur babies and I love them so much, but let me remind you, you paid a breeder or you paid an adoption agency, you didn't just pay adoption fees, you bought that animal. So you paid a transaction fee to own that animal. You cannot, in the year of our Lord 2025, own human beings, okay? So that is, and we've admitted how egregiously immoral that was, but you can own pets. Okay, cool, you have to buy them and you have to license them with the state. So you have to register your pets with the state as your property, okay? Pets are property. And I understand you love your dog and you love your kitty cat and you love your goldfish so much. I get it, okay? I am a pet owner. I love dogs. I love kitty cats. My wife and I have 3 cats. If you go on my public figure page at facebook.com/theaspguy, you'll see pictures of my cats all over there, right? I'm a dog lover. My wife's a cat lover, so we compromised and got cats, okay? We did own dogs for years and years. We don't anymore. But they are property. In the eyes of the law, they are property, 100%. They do not have any of the protections that a human being does. They are not considered by any law anywhere in Western civilization to have the same stature as a human being in terms of value, worth, and dignity, okay? So the standards for protection of pets is very different than the standards for protection of humans because of the difference in value, worth, and dignity, all right? So number one, your pet is property. Number two, you cannot, with very, very few exceptions, you cannot protect property with deadly force, purely property with deadly force. Now, I know there's going to be somebody that comes through here and says, oh, Texas Penal Code 932, John says we can defend our property with deadly force. In the very narrow case under Texas law that you are facing criminal mischief during the nighttime or theft during the nighttime, then there is a provision in Texas law for that. So if someone is trying to steal your dog and run away with it at night in Texas, maybe you could make that argument. I still think you're going to get a long hard look there. Nowhere else in the nation is that going to fly. And even there, I think you're going to have a real hard time with it, okay? And here's the thing. Pets are property. You cannot use deadly force to protect purely property. Now, I know people are like, well, but John, in my state law, it says that if you're committing arson, so if you're trying to burn down a building, an occupied structure, then you can use deadly force to stop an arson. So, I'm defending property. No, you are not. The concept behind that is that there are people, it's an occupied structure, not an unoccupied structure. Now, again, the definition of occupied structure is usually a structure designed and intended for people to occupy. Whether or not it's occupied, its design and structure, its intent is to be occupied. So what you're defending there is not the structure, it's the people inside that structure. So it is a forcible felony which puts people at risk of life. So if you were to do that on an unoccupied structure that's not designed to be occupied, I'm having a hard time figuring out what one of those would be. Maybe a shed or something, I don't know. You could be in a very legally gray area there, right? And that's where I see people get into trouble here. I also see people get into trouble here when they get emotionally invested so far in their pets that they're like, I don't care what it costs me, and my dog is my child, and I'll do whatever, and if you try to hurt my dog or you try to attack my dog, I'll kill you dead. Hey man, I hope you like the taste of prison food. And here's the thing, if you use deadly force in most places, you shoot a gun inside city limits and it's not in self-defense, it's not to protect human life, you could do 5 years or more for that. 5, 6, 7 isn't uncommon if you do so in a reckless and negligent manner. And so guess what? There's a good chance your pooch ain't gonna live that long. And so you might be like, I'll do anything for my dog so that he can go live with your in-laws or something like that. That's dumb. It's just a bad way to be. It's just a bad risk management, in my opinion. So don't use deadly force to protect property and property alone. The recent case of Arizona versus Elliott, he was absolutely in fear of his own life. If you go even and watch the statement he gave post Miranda, it's in the videos, just a little south of here. On this one, go look it up, just a few videos before this. He never says he wasn't in fear for his own life. He does say he was in fear for his dog's safety, but never exclusively for his dog's safety. And he says very clearly several times that he was in fear for his life too. And so again, even with that, he was prosecuted and faced a jury for 2 felonies at 75 years old. And so, in that case, in this particular case, I think was just a terrible, egregious miscarriage of justice, should never have gotten here. Go watch all those videos on that. It's just a whole big thing. But as a general rule, as a rule that I want you to adhere to, even as much of a lover of pets as you are, do not use deadly force to protect purely your pets, which are property. Now, a few things on that, right? Again, if the dog is attacking you, or if the wild animal that you're walking your dog in an area that has javelina or coyotes, stuff like that, and the coyote jumps out of the bushes, and you're like, oh no, well, wait a minute now, are you afraid for yourself or your pet? Now, I think that a regular person probably could, if a coyote jumped out of the bushes at them and starts snarling and snapping in their direction with their pet next to them, they could probably reasonably fear for their own safety, for their own life, okay? And so, if you do fear for your life there, then deadly force would be justified to use to stop that threat. An alternative, of course, is to carry something between a harsh word and a gun. So if a dog starts mauling your dog, like, they're playing in your dog is playing in the dog park in your suburban area, and it gets into a huge tussle with another dog. Now you can stick your hand in there and try to get them apart, but then you're probably going to face an attack too. And and they may not even intend it, but you're going to get chewed up. In my opinion, this is what an OC spray is absolutely for. We douse those dogs with the hot sauce. Yes, even your dog, and your dog's probably going to get some, but you clean him up in a little bit. He'll have 15, 20 minutes where he's miserable, and then he'll be fine. And then you don't end up in jail that day, and you don't end up hiring an attorney that day, and you go on with your life. That is smart. One more thing, that there are some places, like in Arizona has this as well, in our animal cruelty statute. If you, in particular, some people have asked this in the comments too, well, John, wait a minute, what about, when dogs attack livestock, we shoot those dogs? Okay. In a lot of places, when you are away from city limits, when you're out in the country, that's where you keep livestock. You don't generally keep livestock inside city limits. I suppose you could, but it's not very common. Out there, then the rules of protection of livestock sometimes allow for that as well. And a lot of times a rural county sheriff will be like, yeah, man, you shot, there was no people around here. You had a safe backstop. Everything was okay. We're not inside city limits. We're not worried about, unlawful discharge of a firearm inside city limits charges and those kinds of things. Like in Arizona, the statute even says if you poison a dog that's been known to attack livestock, then it's a defense against a charge of animal cruelty in the state of Arizona. So those are these very few exceptions, right? But remember, your pet is not livestock, okay? Your pet is not livestock. So you're not gonna get that to apply to you defending your pet. Simple as that, okay? So there's your rule, right? Carry something between a harsh word and a gun, all right? My recommendation is an OC spray. That's what I carry every day. I've actually used OC spray multiple times, 4 of them against dogs. I've had a gun pointed at a dog one time that came at me when I was jogging, and came out of its yard, big old King Corso, and scared the crap out of me. Thankfully stopped far enough away from me I didn't have to shoot it. I actually had my gun up and the front sight on that dog's center chest, and had some pressure on the trigger when he finally pulled up. So thank God for that. But I've used OC spray multiple times on aggressive dogs. One that was almost at my dog, and I was able to scare that dog off. I booped a couple of other dogs in the snoot who were coming after me, honestly. Were they coming after me to attack me or to scare me? I'm not sure. Again, a guy who is relatively fit, who is younger. I have a high level of empty-handed skills. Had they penetrated that barrier, I was ready to go with front kicks. So if you have a high level of skill, you may not have to do that. And I'm not saying you have to have that level of skill. And if you don't, and you're a 75-year-old man, I have no problem with what John did. I think it was John Elliott. I think it was absolutely justified what he did. But, if you have a higher skill set, if you have more tools on you, if you have more time to think about this, do better than that and stay away from the justice system, okay? So the answer, can I shoot a dog that's attacking my dog? Can I shoot a dog that wanders the neighborhood and he likes to attack my cat, and I think he killed one of my cats, and so can I shoot that dog if he comes after one of my other cats? Don't do it. You very likely will face charges if you do, and that's going to cost you tens of thousands of dollars to deal with. Could be felonies on your record, could be prison time for that. Going to be a nightmare for you. So friends, don't do it.